Hi, today we're going to be going over cube root equations. Now, these show up infrequently in algebra, and when they do, people often get kind of confused, tripped out, because there's a scary cube root right there. Well, that cube root is not something to be afraid of. Today we're going to go over a problem, give an example that shows these cube root problems are really exactly like square root problems. And so let's say I have a problem like the negative cube root of x equals 6 times the cube root of x plus 7, right? And I want to solve for x. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to get all my cube roots on one side. And I'm going to keep that 7 on another side so I can solve for those cube roots and just get a value for x, right? So I'm going to subtract this 6 cube root of x. I always want to do that. I always want to get all my cube roots on one side. Minus 6 times the cube root of x. I do that. Now, since these are both terms with the cube root of x, I can actually subtract them together, right? Because this negative cube root of x is really just negative 1 times the cube root of x, and this negative 6 cube root of x is really just negative 6 times the cube root of x. So if we were to factor out a cube root of x, we'd have negative 1 plus negative 6. And of course, this equals 7. Now this simplifies out to negative 7 times the cube root of x is equal to 7. So I can divide by negative 7 to cancel out that here. Divide by negative 7 here to get the cube root of x is equal to negative 1. Now I think, what's one multiply it by itself 3 times to get negative 1? And the answer is negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. So if I multiply negative 1 by itself 3 times into negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1, I get 1 times negative 1, or negative 1. So my x in this example is negative 1. However, since I'm dealing with cube roots or any form of roots, I have to be careful that my answer is not extraneous. And if you don't know what extraneous solutions are, please watch my my video on extraneous solutions and equations, link below. So I'm going to take this and plug this back into our original equation, right? So I have a negative cube root of negative 1 equals 6 times the cube root of negative 1 plus 7. So the cube root of negative 1, we just established earlier, is negative 1. But we have this extra negative sign we have to take care of, so it's actually negative 1. This, of course, is just 6 times negative 1 plus 7. Negative 1 is actually positive 1, which is equal to negative 6 plus 7. So we have 1 equals 1. And we see if both sides of our equation matches, our equation works. This is a valid solution. And since this is our only solution, this is the only value that we have to check. So we know x equals negative 1 is the one and only solution to this equation. And just like that, we've solved what was originally a kind of scary-looking cube root equation. But we solved that nice and easy, made sure to isolate our cube roots, realized that since they share the same common cube root, we could group their coefficients together. And we were able to do that straightforward, just like that. Simplify that out, divide out those coefficients, and just get something that we could individually evaluate the cube root for. All right, so cube roots may be a little tricky thinking about it, but really the only hard part is just looking at a number and saying, well, what's the cube root of that number, or what number do I have to cube to get this? That's really the only tricky part. And it's not that hard either. You just have to think about, okay, well, negative 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. What's that, right? Not difficult. So just follow those steps, keep calm, and you will solve every cube root equation you will come across. I hope that helped, and I hope you have a great day.